This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have a Maytag Neptune dryer that isn't heating, and here's a couple things you can try. So first I set it for time dry and I turned it on, and then I'm going to go outside and I just want to feel the volume of air, because if there's not much air coming out, it's probably a clogged dryer vent tube, and it's probably the high limit blew and you just have to replace the high limit. But in this case I feel there's tons of air coming out. It feels like a hair dryer, so I know that that's not the case. So I go back inside and I'm going to do a little disassembly here. I unplugged it. I'm going to take off the door by removing 2 Phillips head screws, and then I'll be able to just wiggle the door out. And then there's also 2 screws on the other side that I want to remove. These are just holding on this front panel. Once I get the front panel out, I have good access to the things that are involved in making the dryer heat. There's a couple of thermostats, and also there's a thermal fuse that I need to check. It also could be the igniter, so there's a few things to check out. But they're all pretty cheap and expensive, and they're easy to test. You just need a continuity tester, a multi-tester that has a continuity reading. Continuity testers or multi-testers cost about $20. So I got those screws out. Just going to grab the door and kind of wiggle it toward me. As I pull it toward me, it'll come out of its bracket. And then I'm going to grab the front panel at the top right and top left. I'm going to wiggle it and pull it toward me. I'm going to lift it off of the bottom clips, get that out of the way. And then down at the bottom center, there's a white thermal fuse. I'm testing it for continuity. It shows that it does have continuity, so it's not blown. I'm putting then the probes on the outside of the thermostat, and it shows it has continuity. Then I'm reaching back on the burner tube. There's also a high limit. I'm putting my probes on its terminals, and it shows that it also has continuity. So they all have continuity, so I know it's not any of those that have tripped. So now I set my voltmeter for AC voltage, and I'm going to put my leads right here on this white connector. I'll put one in this hole here and then one on the other side. And this is going to be looking for voltage going to the igniter. Then what I'll do is I'll plug it in. I'll set it for time dry, and I'm going to push in on the button that's the door switch, so that the machine thinks the door is closed. Here with my thumb, I turn on the dryer, and I'm going to look at this meter and see if I get any kind of voltage reading. I'm looking for 110, 120 volts AC. And it took a second, but then I did show voltage. So I know I have voltage going to the igniter, but the igniter is not glowing, and that tells me that the igniter has just burned out. And this took about, in this unit, I think about 20 years, so that's pretty impressive. So I'm going to be replacing the igniter. It's really easy to do. Got to unplug it and pull the igniter out of the case. Then I have to remove just one screw to get the igniter out. Also, I have to separate the modular connector that brings power to the igniter, which is pretty easy to do too. So this igniter comes with a couple of wire nuts to splice in, but we don't have to do that in this case. We just have to separate this wire connector that we can see shown here. Here's the part number. This is one from Amazon. These are pretty cheap. They can send it to you really fast, especially if you're a Prime member. Get it just within a day or two. And once you get it, all you got to do is use a little standard head screwdriver and pry apart this connector. Here's also a link for ordering the part. So we're going to pry apart the connector. Also in the description below, we'll have a link for you too. So you can just click on it. So we got that pried apart, and we're going to remove 1/4 inch machine screw here that's holding on the igniter. Using this angle tool to get in there, it just makes it easier. You can use a ratchet too to zip that out. Once you get that screw out, the igniter will come right out. And this igniter doesn't look broken, it looks good, but it probably has an internal break that's not allowing the electricity to flow through it. So we got our new igniter. We're going to put that in position. We're going to let it come back so it's underneath the screw that holds it. I left the screw in position. I just let it come back so it's sitting underneath the screw, and then I'll take my 1/4 inch driver and just tighten that up. So in this Neptune, Maytag Neptune dryer, this is a really easy procedure. You have a lot of room to work. I'm going to plug the modular connector back in, so that's going to bring power to the igniter, and then I'll plug the dryer back in just to test it. So you get it plugged in, I'll press in on this button that makes it think that the door is closed, and I'll press the start button, and we should see the igniter start to glow. There we go. So that igniter is working. It's going to glow really bright, and then we'll see a big flame go into the burner tube. That's just going to confirm that the dryer is working again. There's our flame. It took about maybe 10 seconds. So that's great. So we'll unplug it, and then we'll put it back together. I'm going to put the front panel back on. I'm going to sit it down on its little clips here at the bottom, and I'll lean the front panel back, push it in on its little clips at the top. I'm going to grab the door, and I'm going to feed these metal clips back into these holes. Kind of hard to see them. Kind of wiggle it in. This is probably the only hard part of getting these little hinges to go back in. And I'm going to put the Phillips head screws back in to hold it. Just for fun, I'm using my multi-tester to test this old igniter. I have it set for continuity. Well, I'm also testing the dryer to make sure it got hot, and it did get nice and hot. What I noticed now when I test it for continuity is I get no auditory reading and no change on the meter display. So in essence, no electricity can flow through this igniter, so it has an internal break somewhere. And that's pretty good though, again, after 20 years. But easy procedure. Hope this works to help get your Neptune dryer going again. Here's that link if you need it, and we'll also have it in the description for you. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance. We can send you more videos.